So for this edition of the Dupe Detective, I'm going to be looking at my pale pink polishes, and in particular I'm going to be looking at comparisons for SES Fiji. This is my first bottle of Pinking of You by OPI. They brought this out as part of their breast cancer awareness release. This has quite a nice formula, goes on nice and smoothly, self-levels nicely, and it's a nice polish. And this is my other bottle of Pinking of You. You can see different year, it was actually quite a different colour. Second one's a lot more orangey toned. Also a nice formula, goes on nice and smoothly. Confusingly, they also both have exactly the same number on the bottom. So they're clearly not exactly the same colour. So that's Pinking of You 1 and Pinking of You 2 by OPI. So next up we have Sinful Colors. I bought this one because I saw I don't know if it was a blog post or a video on YouTube where someone said that this was a good dupe for Fiji, and I was on a search for Fiji dupe at the time. So this is Sinful Colors Easy Going. My bottle, at least, though, isn't a Fiji dupe. The formula on this one isn't particularly good either. It's quite streaky, especially on the first coat. And here we have SES Fiji. If you've watched my unpopular opinions video, you'll know that although I love the colour of this polish, my bottle at least has a terrible formula. And I've been looking for a replacement for this. Not only is it streaky and takes a good 3 coats normally to get it looking okay, it also takes forever to dry or doesn't dry properly at all. So this is Fiji by Essie. So Claire Gray, having seen my unpopular opinions video, sent me this lovely trust fund beauty, which is pretty near on dupe for Fiji, and this is Do You Know Who My Father Is? This has a beautiful formula, almost opaque in just the one coat. I absolutely love it. And this is OPI's Getting Knotty on My Honeymoon from the 2017 Fiji collection. Again, I bought this one in the hope that it could be a Fiji replacement for me. This bottle again has a terrible formula though, very streaky, very patchy, even in 3 coats doesn't normally look good. Some people have suggested to me that it might be because it's a mini bottle. So you might find that if you buy a full-size bottle, the formula is better. This one is OPI's Mod About You. Again, I think this one does vary considerably in colour between country and sometimes between batch. Mine is quite a pale version, I think, compared to some people's, but still quite bright. It's OPI's Mod About You. This one has a good formula, almost opaque in 1 coat. Then we have this Unnamed Pink, which came from a Boots box set that I was given for Christmas from a friend. Thank you, Zoe. And this one looked quite similar to me, to Mod About You. Application on this one, on the first coat, not so great. It's streaky, certainly nowhere near as good as Mod About You is. but so far looking quite similar in colour. And lastly, we have this little mini bottle of Orally's Lollipop, and I really like this colour, although again the formula is not so great. It's streaky on the first coat, but I do love the slightly cooler, slightly lilac tone to this polish. Unfortunately, I did buy a large size of this off the back of liking this one, and found that the larger bottle was a completely different colour, which I didn't like. So that one has already been destashed from my collection, and I just have this mini remaining. So here we have one coat of each of the polishes. I'm going to do further coats as necessary and then come back. So here we have 2 coats of each polish, and I have top coated them all so that it is a fair comparison. And first of all, here we have the first version of OPI's Pinking of You, and this is a lovely pink, good formula, and will definitely be staying in my collection. Here is OPI's Pinking of You, my second bottle. As you can see, this one's a much more peach toned orange, very different from the first one, and I do like them both, so this one will also be staying. And here we have Sinful Colors Easy Going. Now this is the one that some people have said is a dupe for Fiji. Certainly my bottle isn't. It's almost a cream colour with a hint of pink, possibly a hint of peach. So definitely different from the other colours in this comparison, so for the moment it will be staying, but the formula's not great, so I may well bring it out and compare it against my creams and light peach colours, and at a later date it might go. Here is Fiji. Annoyingly, it went on really quite well on this particular occasion, but I've had that happen before, and it can vary from nail to nail, even on the same day. I've no idea why that might happen. If anyone's any clues, let me know. As I said, I do love the colour, but I've tried so many times to make this formula work. I thought maybe originally it was just me being inexperienced, but I've tried it several times, and I still find that the formula is very inconsistent. Every single time I've worn it, I've ended up putting something else over the top of it to cover up how poor the manicure is. So this one will be now leaving my collection. And the reason why I can let Fiji go is that I now have this beautiful Trust Fund Beauty. It's ever so slightly darker pink than Fiji, but it's more than close enough for me. So this is going to be staying in my collection, and Fiji is going to be going. Next up, this is OPI is Getting Knotty on My Honeymoon. The formula in this particular bottle, as I said, is terrible. Even with a thick coat of top coat, it's still not looking good. This one is going to be destashed. And the reason why I can really let that one go is because OPI's Mod About You is close enough for me and a much, much better formula. It's a little bit chalky, a little bit difficult to work with. You've got to be quick with it, but it's lovely and smooth, self-levels, opaque in 1 to 2 coats. So this one is staying. This Unnamed Pink from the Boots collection, unfortunately, this one also has quite a poor formula. I do like the colour, but it is very similar to the mini of the Orally next to it. I might keep this one for now because I've got a project coming up that I might use it up for. If I decide to use another polish for that project, then this one will be given away to a friend. And lastly, here is Lollipop by Orally, slightly darker and more purple toned than the other pinks. I do like this colour, so I will keep it, but I think I will try and use it up this summer because of being a mini size. So I'm not doing a project polish as such, but I will definitely try and get a few wears out of this one over the summer. So here are the polishes that are going to be staying in my collection, and then I'm going to be de-stashing these two. Hope you enjoyed this, and watch out for the next instalment coming soon, and I'll see you in that one.